Hello and welcome into today's crochet tutorial. So today we will be looking at how to make this cowl, and this is called Me In Cowl, and it is made in the Celtic weave stitch. For the original sample I used woven alpaca soft DK, so this is a DK weight yarn, and I used 4mm crochet hook. Today I'm going to be demonstrating with Portobello Hobby, matched with 4.5mm hook. Without further ado, let's dive in. So to start with, we are going to be working foundation double crochet, and this is in the US terminology. So we start with a slip knot, and you will chain 3. For this project, if you are following the exact pattern instructions, you will need 134 foundation double crochet. If you decided to start with a chain, then you will need 2 more chains for the turning chain. I'm going to do the foundation stitches, so to do that you will chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. You will yarn over the hook and insert into the 3rd chain from the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. We've got 3 loops on our hook, so you'll need to yarn over and pull through 1, that creates your chain, and then yarn over, pull through 2 times, and that creates your double crochet stitch, and that's your first foundation double crochet. So you will continue and make 133 more for the total of 134. You will first yarn over, insert the hook under the first 2 strands, which was the chain that we just created, yarn over, pull up a loop. You've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 1, that creates the chain, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So once more, yarn over the hook, insert under the foundation chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 times. If you like to make the cowl smaller or larger, the basic stitch pattern count is 4 plus 2. So the stitch pattern is worked over 4 stitches, and then you need 2 for your edge stitches, because this is worked flat, and then we will seam it at the end. Once you finish your foundation stitches, so these are the chains, so this will be the bottom of your work, you will then turn your work around. You pull up the loop slightly taller, and then you chain 1. You will then work into the back bump of that first chain, the turning chain, insert into the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. We've got 2 loops, and then you will go into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So we end up with 3 loops on the hook. You'll yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So this is your first linked double crochet stitch. I opted for this stitch rather than for the turning chain because it eliminates the gap that is usually between the turning chain and the stitches of the Celtic weave stitch pattern. So now we've established the foundation row and the first stitch. We will now start working the actual stitch pattern, and this is row number 2, and this will be first row of your row repeat. So to begin with, we will skip 2 stitches, so we will skip 1 and 2, and work front post double crochet into the next 2 stitches. So to work front post double crochet, we won't work into top of the stitches, but we will work around the post here. So first you need to yarn over, then go in around the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And this is the time when you need to keep your stitches fairly loose, otherwise the fabric will be really rolling forward and you will be struggling to work into the stitches. And you will work another front post double crochet into the following stitch, and then we will go back and work front post double crochet stitches into the stitches that we've skipped. and then the next one, like so. Then we will repeat the same across the row. So we will skip the next two, work from post double crochet stitches into following 2 stitches, like so. So I'm going to let you go ahead, work the stitch pattern across the row, working a double crochet into the last stitch, and then you will turn for the row number 3. For row number 3, we again work the linked stitch at the beginning, and then we will work 2 back post double crochet stitches. So these are slightly more difficult than the front post. So the stitches that we are going to be working are these 2. So we yarn over the hook, work around the post of the stitch, but this time not from front. We're going to go into the stitch from the back around, like so. And again, I'd advise that you work the stitches slightly looser. So now we've got this stitch. So for the first few rows, when you work the second row of your pattern repeat, I would just advise you just to go a little bit slower, just to avoid the frustration of having to pull back your work. Okay, now we're going to miss or skip the next 2 stitches. So this would be these 2, 1 and 2, and we are going to be working again back post double crochet stitches into following 2. So these are the stitches here. Sometimes it's just easier when you isolate them with your fingers, so you know exactly where you're going to go with your hook. And then the second, like so. And now we are going to be going back to the skipped stitches and work back post double crochet into this. So we will work first into this one. So again, I like to isolate the stitch, so now I know which post I need to work around, like so. So this will be the first one, and then this is the second one. And then you repeat the same pattern. So you skip 2, work the following 2 and across the row, and then you will end up with 3 stitches at the end of the row. You will work the back post double crochet stitches into the last 2 and a double crochet stitch into the last stitch of your row. After you complete your row number 3, this is how your first 3 rows going to look. You will then again work the first link, double crochet stitch, and you will repeat rows number 2 and 3 for rows 4 to 29. I'm going to just show you how to start the following row. So again, you will skip the first 2 stitches, and then you work into the post stitches. Again, work fairly loosely. The looser your stitches on the even rows are, the easier it is to work into them from the other side, so from the wrong side. And now we're going to go back to the first 2 skipped stitches. So this is how you would start row number 4. And after row 29, you will work a row 2 or repetition of row 2 once more. And for row 31, you will work a double crochet row across. So you will just work double crochet stitches. We will not be working into the post stitches. We'll be only working into top of the stitches. And that's it. After that, you would fasten off and seam your project. So for this seaming, you can use any type of seaming that you would prefer. I decided to use the locking mattress stitch. This is a stitch that creates a nice seam, and as you can see, the gaps between the first stitches and the rest of the pattern are fairly small. They are visible, but they are a lot smaller. The gaps are a lot smaller than as if you would just use the turning chain. It would be quite more visible. This stitch pattern creates quite thick and dense fabric, so I would recommend you, definitely recommend that you block your project before you seam it, just to even out the stitch pattern, because as you work you will find that it starts curling forward, especially if the stitches are worked quite tight. So once you seam the project and you either wet block it or steam block it, that relaxes the fibers and sets the stitch pattern so it looks fairly nice and even. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and I'll see you in the next one. As always, please let me know in the comment section below what yarn would you use for your cowl. Subscribe, like, share with your friends. Bye bye.